Marcus Webb wiped the sweat from his forehead as he stared at the control panel of his mining ship. The numbers on the screen made no sense. His deep space scanner was showing something that should not exist in this empty corner of space. He had been working alone for 3 months now, mining asteroids in the Kepler system. It was boring work, but it paid well. His job was simple. Find asteroids with valuable metals, break them apart with his mining lasers, and load the pieces into his cargo hold. Then return to the nearest space station and sell everything. But today was different. Today his scanner had found something strange. Marcus pressed a few buttons and zoomed in on the signal. What he saw made him lean forward in his chair. There was definitely something inside the largest asteroid in this field. Something big. Something that was giving off heat and electrical signals. That's impossible, Marcus said to himself. Asteroids don't have power sources. He guided his ship closer to the massive rock. It was bigger than a city block and covered in strange crystal formations that sparkled in the light of distant stars. As he got nearer, his scanner readings became even more confusing. Whatever was inside that asteroid was alive. Marcus checked his instruments twice, then 3 times. There was no mistake. Something living was trapped inside that rock, and it was barely hanging on to life. His hands moved over the control panel as he ran a detailed scan. The readings showed a complex life form with what looked like a primitive life support system keeping it alive, but the power levels were dropping fast. Whatever was in there would die soon if nothing was done. Marcus sat back in his pilot seat and rubbed his chin. His mining contract was very clear about situations like this. He was not supposed to interfere with alien artifacts or life forms. His job was to mine rocks and nothing else. If he found anything unusual, he was supposed to report it to his company and wait for instructions. But waiting for instructions would take weeks. The nearest company office was 4 systems away, and even faster-than-light messages took time to send and receive. Whatever was in that asteroid would be dead long before help could arrive. Marcus looked at the life signs on his screen. They were getting weaker by the hour. He made his decision. Marcus fired up his ship's engines and moved in close to the asteroid. He had never tried to rescue anything from inside a space rock before, but he was a good engineer. He would figure it out. The first step was getting a better look at what he was dealing with. Marcus put on his spacesuit and left his ship in a small work pod. He flew around the asteroid, taking pictures and measurements. The crystal formations were beautiful, but also very hard. His mining lasers would need to be set to their lowest power to avoid hurting whatever was inside. As he worked, Marcus started to see patterns in the crystal. It was not natural. Someone or something had made this prison on purpose. The crystals were arranged in a way that would slowly drain energy from whatever was trapped inside. It was designed to be a slow, painful death. The thought made Marcus angry. What kind of creature would do this to another living being? He spent the next 6 hours mapping the asteroid and planning his rescue attempt. The life form inside was huge, much bigger than a human. His cargo hold would barely be large enough to fit it. But Marcus had no choice. He had to try. The cutting process began at dawn, ship time. Marcus worked carefully with his mining lasers, cutting away small pieces of crystal and rock. He had to be precise. One wrong cut could kill whatever was inside. Hours passed. Marcus stopped only to eat and check his progress. The crystal was harder than any material he had ever worked with. His cutting tools were getting hot from overuse, and he had to let them cool down several times. As night fell, Marcus had managed to cut through the outer layer of the prison. What he found underneath made him gasp in surprise. It was a dragon. Not like the dragons from old Earth stories, but definitely a dragon. The creature was massive, with scales that shimmered like metal in the light of his work lamps. Its wings were folded against its body, and its long neck was curved in an uncomfortable position. Crystal formations had grown around its arms and legs, holding it in place like chains. Marcus had heard stories about dragons from other miners. They were an ancient alien race that lived far from human space. Most people thought they were just legends, but here was proof that they were real. The dragon's eyes were closed, but Marcus could see its chest moving slightly with each breath. It was alive, but just barely. The life support system keeping it alive was built into the crystal matrix around it. Tubes and wires connected to various parts of the dragon's body, providing air and nutrients. But the system was failing. Marcus could see that several of the tubes had cracked over time, and the power cells were almost empty. Marcus returned to his ship and studied the problem. Freeing the dragon would be much harder than he had thought. The crystal prison was not just holding it captive, it was also keeping it alive. If he cut away the life support system too quickly, the dragon would die. He needed a new plan. Marcus spent the rest of the night designing a portable life support system using parts from his ship. It would not be perfect, but it might keep the dragon alive long enough to get it to proper medical care. By morning, Marcus was ready to continue the rescue. He knew it would take days, maybe weeks, to free the dragon safely. His mining schedule would be completely ruined, and his company would be angry with him. But as he looked at the magnificent creature trapped in crystal, Marcus knew he had made the right choice. No living being deserved to die alone in the cold darkness of space. He fired up his cutting laser and got back to work. The dragon's rescue had begun. 3 weeks had passed since Marcus began the rescue operation. His small mining ship looked more like a medical station now. Tools and equipment covered every surface. Cables and tubes snaked across the floor, connecting his makeshift life support system to the dragon trapped in the asteroid. Marcus had not slept more than 4 hours at a time during those 3 weeks. Every day brought new challenges. The crystal formations around the dragon were unlike anything he had ever seen. They seemed to grow back almost as fast as he could cut them away. His cutting tools had broken down twice, forcing him to rebuild them from spare parts. His food supplies were running low, and his ship's power systems were being pushed beyond their limits. But Marcus refused to give up. On the 21st day, something changed. Marcus was working on freeing the dragon's left arm when he felt a strange tingling in his mind. It was like someone was trying to speak to him without using words. The A. Sensation was so strong that he had to stop working and sit down. Then he heard a voice in his head. It was weak and tired, but definitely there. "Who are you, small one?" Marcus looked around his ship, thinking someone had gotten aboard. But he was still alone. The voice had come from inside his own thoughts. "I am Marcus," he said out loud, feeling foolish for talking to empty air. "I am trying to help you." "You can hear me," the voice said with surprise. "Most humans cannot speak mind to mind with my kind." Marcus realized the voice was coming from the dragon. Somehow, the creature was talking directly to his thoughts. "You are a dragon," Marcus said. "I have heard stories about your people, but I never thought I would meet one." "I am Lyra Stormwind of the Blue Mountain Clan," the voice replied. "Though I doubt my clan would claim me now. They are the ones who put me in this crystal prison." Marcus felt anger rising in his chest. "Your own people did this to you?" "It is a long story," Lyra said. Her mental voice was getting a little stronger as they talked. "I committed crimes against our ancient ways. My punishment was to die slowly in this crystal tomb, conscious and aware until the very end." "That's horrible," Marcus said. "What could you have done to deserve this?" There was silence in his mind for a moment. Then Lyra spoke again. "I believe that dragons should work with other races instead of hiding from them. I created new technologies. By studying the work of younger species like yours, my clan saw this as contamination of our pure heritage." Marcus shook his head in disbelief. "They imprisoned you for wanting to cooperate with others?" "The old ways are sacred to my people," Lyra explained. We have lived for thousands of years, believing we are superior to all other races. My ideas challenge that belief. The clan elders decided I was too dangerous to live, but too valuable to kill quickly. Well, your clan elders were wrong, Marcus said firmly. Nobody deserves to die like this, no matter what they believe. Over the following days, Marcus and Lyra talked while he continued the rescue work. She told him about Dragon Society and their advanced technology. Marcus learned that dragons lived for centuries and had developed science far beyond what humans had achieved. But their society was rigid and unchanging. New ideas were seen as threats. Innovation was discouraged unless it followed traditional methods that had been used for generations. Lyra had been different. She was curious about other races and their technologies. In secret, she had studied human engineering, alien mathematics, and the art forms of a dozen different species. She used what she learned to create amazing new inventions. Her greatest creation had been a new type of faster-than-light engine that was smaller, cheaper, and more efficient than anything dragons had built before. But because it used principles learned from studying human technology, her clan declared it forbidden. When Lyra refused to destroy her work, they decided she had to be stopped permanently. "How long have you been in here?" Marcus asked, as he carefully cut away more crystal from around her right wing. 162 years, 4 months, and 16 days, Lyra replied without hesitation. Marcus stopped cutting. "You have been counting every day?" "The crystal prison was designed to keep me aware and thinking. I cannot sleep deeply or lose consciousness. I have been awake and counting time for over a century and a half." The cruelty of it made Marcus feel sick. To be trapped and aware for so long would drive most beings insane. Yet Lyra still seemed rational and intelligent. "How did you survive it?" Marcus asked. "I designed things in my mind," Lyra said. "New inventions, better technologies, improvements to everything I had created before. Thinking kept me sane when the loneliness became too much to bear." Marcus realized he was not just rescuing a dragon. He was rescuing one of the greatest engineering minds in the galaxy. "Tell me about some of your designs," Marcus said as he worked. Lyra began describing incredible technologies. Engines that could bend space and time. Medical devices that could heal any injury in minutes. Computers that thought faster than any organic brain. Weapons that could stop wars by making violence impossible. Marcus listened in amazement. Even with his limited understanding, he could tell that Lyra's ideas were revolutionary. Her clan had thrown away a treasure beyond measure. On the 28th day of the rescue, Marcus finally broke through the last of the crystal formations around Lyra's chest. The ancient chains that had held her for so long cracked and fell away. Lyra's massive form shifted slightly. It was the first time she had been able to move in over a century and a half. "I can feel my body again," she said with wonder in her mental voice. "I had almost forgotten what it was like." But the rescue was not over yet. The life support systems built into the crystal were failing as Marcus cut them away. He had to work faster to connect his own equipment to keep Lyra alive. "Almost there," Marcus said as sweat dripped into his eyes. His hands moved quickly over the control panel, adjusting power levels and life support settings. Lyra's vital signs were dropping. Marcus could see on his instruments that she was dying. "Hold on," he whispered. "Just hold on a little longer." With a final surge of determination, Marcus completed the connection between his ship's life support and the dragon. Fresh air began flowing through the tubes he had connected to her breathing system. His ship's power flowed into the devices, keeping her heart beating. Lyra's eyes opened for the first time in over a century. They were bright blue, like sapphires, and filled with intelligence and gratitude. "Thank you, Marcus Webb," she said, both in his mind and with her actual voice. It was deep and musical, like wind chimes in a storm. "You are free now," Marcus said simply. For the first time since he had found her, Lyra smiled. It was a magnificent sight. Marcus had never been a doctor, but he was learning fast. His mining ship had become a floating hospital, and his patient was unlike anything in human medical books. Lyra was huge, beautiful, and dying. The first week after freeing her from the crystal prison was the hardest. Lyra's body had not moved in over 160 years. Her muscles had grown weak and her organs were failing. The life support systems Marcus had built were keeping her alive, but just barely. Marcus worked 18 hours a day, studying dragon anatomy and trying to understand what Lyra's body needed. He had no medical training beyond basic first aid, but he was a good engineer. He approached the problem like fixing a broken machine. "Your heart rate is too slow," Marcus said, checking the readings on his instruments. "And your breathing is shallow." Lyra lay on her side in his cargo hold. Her massive form took up most of the space, but she had folded her wings carefully to fit. Her blue scales caught the light from his work lamps, making her look like a living jewel. "My people heal differently than yours," Lyra said weakly. Her voice was barely a whisper, both in his mind and when she spoke aloud. "We need different foods, different air mixtures, different temperatures. Tell me what you need," Marcus said. "I will figure out how to make it work." Over the next few days, Lyra taught Marcus about dragon physiology. Their blood was copper-based instead of iron-based like humans. They needed higher levels of certain gases in their air. Their body temperature was much higher than humans, and they needed specific minerals in their food. Marcus modified his ship's systems to provide what Lyra needed. He rebuilt his air recycling system to produce the right gas mixture. He adjusted his heating systems to warm her sleeping area. He even figured out how to process his emergency food supplies to extract the minerals she required. "You are very clever for such a young species," Lyra said one day, as Marcus installed a new heating element near her resting area. "Young species?" Marcus asked. "Humans have only been in space for a few hundred years," Lyra explained. "My people have been traveling between stars for tens of thousands of years. To us, you are like children just learning to walk." Marcus felt a little insulted. "We may be young, but we learn fast, and we do not imprison our own people for having new ideas." Lyra was quiet for a moment. Then she made a sound that Marcus realized was laughter. "You are right," she said. "Age does not always bring wisdom. Sometimes it brings fear of change." As the days passed, Lyra grew stronger. Marcus could see improvement in her vital signs. Her breathing became deeper and more regular. Her heart rate increased to normal levels. The color returned to her scales. But the healing was not just physical. Lyra had been alone for over a century and a half. She had not spoken to another living being in all that time. Having someone to talk to was helping her mind heal too. "Why did you save me?" Lyra asked one evening as Marcus worked on upgrading her feeding system. Marcus paused in his work. It was a good question. He had risked his career, spent his savings on equipment, and worked himself nearly to death for a creature he had never met. "Because it was the right thing to do," he said simply. "Many beings would not have cared about doing the right thing," Lyra said. "My own clan certainly did not." "Then your clan was wrong," Marcus replied. "Just because something is traditional does not make it right." Lyra studied him with her bright blue eyes. "You think like an engineer?" "What do you mean?" "Engineers see problems and want to fix them," Lyra explained. "They do not accept that something cannot be improved just because it has always been done a certain way." Marcus smiled. "Is that why your clan feared your ideas?" "Yes," Lyra said sadly. "I saw problems with our society and wanted to fix them. But the clan elders believed our ways were perfect already. They thought change was dangerous." As Lyra recovered, she began helping Marcus improve his ship's systems. Her knowledge of advanced technology was incredible. She showed him how to make his engines more efficient, how to strengthen his hull with simple modifications, and how to improve his scanner systems. "Your mining lasers are very crude," Lyra said one day, studying the technical specifications on Marcus's computer. They get the job done, Marcus said defensively. Oh, I am not criticizing, Lyra said quickly. I am impressed that you built such effective tools with limited resources, but I can show you how to make them much better. Lyra guided Marcus through a series of modifications to his laser systems. The changes were simple, but they made the lasers twice as powerful and much more precise. Marcus was amazed at the improvement. How? Do you know so much about human technology? He asked. I studied it, Lyra said, along with the technology of dozens of other species. That was part of my crime, according to my clan. I contaminated my mind with inferior knowledge. There is nothing inferior about learning, Marcus said, firmly. Knowledge is knowledge, no matter where it comes from. That is exactly what I tried to tell them, Lyra said with satisfaction. By the end of the third week, Lyra was strong enough to move around the cargo hold. She could not fit through the doorways to other parts of the ship, but she could stretch her wings and walk a few steps. It was the most movement she had experienced in over a century and a half. This feels wonderful, she said, flexing her claws and stretching her neck. I had forgotten what it was like to control my own body. Marcus watched her move and felt proud of what they had accomplished together. When he had first found her, Lyra had been barely alive. Now she was recovering her strength and dignity. What will you do when you are fully healed? Marcus asked. Lyra considered the question carefully. I cannot return to my clan. They made it clear that I am no longer welcome. But I cannot stay on your ship forever either. Why not? Marcus asked. We make a good team. Lyra looked at him with surprise. You would want to keep working with me? You are the smartest being I have ever met, Marcus said honestly. And you have already helped me improve my ship in ways I never thought possible. We could accomplish great things together. What about your mining contract? Lyra asked. Your company will not be happy that you rescued me instead of collecting ore. Marcus grinned. Let me worry about my company. I think we can find better work than mining asteroids. What did you have in mind? With your knowledge and my determination, we could start our own engineering company, Marcus said excitedly. We could solve problems that no one else can solve. We could help people across the galaxy. Lyra's eyes brightened with interest. It would certainly be more exciting than mining. Then it is settled, Marcus said. We are partners. Lyra smiled, showing teeth that gleamed like pearls. Partners, she agreed. For the first time in over a century and a half, Lyra had hope for the future, and Marcus had found something more valuable than any asteroid full of precious metals. He had found a friend who shared his passion for solving impossible problems. Together, they began planning their new life among the stars. Marcus stared at the message on his communication screen. His mining company had sent 3 warnings about his missed deadlines. If he did not return to base soon with a full cargo hold, they would cancel his contract and send security ships to find him. This is a problem, Marcus said, showing the message to Lyra. Lyra read the screen carefully. Her understanding of human writing had improved greatly over the past few weeks. Your leaders will not be happy that you chose to save me instead of mining rocks, she said. That's not the worst part, Marcus replied. If I return to human space with you, it could cause a diplomatic crisis. Your people and my people barely tolerate each other. Harboring a dragon exile might be seen as an act of war. Lyra nodded thoughtfully. My clan will eventually send scouts to search for me. When they discover I am free, they will demand your government return me for punishment. Marcus felt frustrated. After all their work to save Lyra and build their partnership, politics might tear them apart. There has to be another option, he said. There is, Lyra said slowly. We could go to Haven Station. Marcus had heard of Haven Station. It was a massive trading post built at the intersection of several major space routes. No single government controlled it. Ships from dozens of different species stopped there to trade goods and information. Haven Station is neutral territory, Marcus said, understanding Lyra's suggestion. Neither human nor dragon law applies there. Exactly, Lyra said. We could set up our engineering business there. We would be free to work together without interference from either of our peoples. It was a good plan, but it meant giving up everything Marcus knew. He would be cutting ties with human space, possibly forever. His family and friends would think he had disappeared. Are you sure about this? Lyra asked, sensing his hesitation. Marcus looked at his ship's cargo hold, filled with Lyra instead of valuable ore. Then he looked at the modifications they had, made together, improvements that had turned his simple mining vessel into something remarkable. I'm sure, he said. Let's go to Haven Station. The journey to Haven Station took 2 weeks. Marcus programmed the navigation computer, while Lyra used her knowledge of space routes to find the safest path. They avoided areas controlled by either human or dragon forces. During the trip, they worked together on new projects. Lyra taught Marcus about dragon engineering principles that seemed to bend the laws of physics. Marcus showed Lyra human techniques for building reliable equipment, with limited resources. Your people are very practical, Lyra observed as they rebuilt the ship's power distribution system. Dragons tend to over-engineer everything. We make our technology beautiful and perfect, but also complicated and expensive. Human technology might not be pretty, but it works, Marcus replied. We have to be practical. We don't have thousands of years to perfect every design. That is exactly why I wanted to study human methods, Lyra said. Sometimes the simple solution is the best solution. They were 3 days away from Haven Station when Marcus's communication system picked up a distress signal. A human colony ship was under attack by raiders somewhere in the next star system. Marcus brought the message up on the main screen. The colony ship carried 10,000 settlers heading for a new world. Their engines had failed, leaving them stranded and defensible against pirate attacks. We should help them, Marcus said immediately. Lyra looked at the message with concern. Your mining ship is no match for pirate warships. We would be flying into a battle we cannot win. We can't just ignore them, Marcus argued. 10,000. People will die if no one helps. And we will die too if we try to fight armed pirates with mining lasers, Lyra pointed out. Marcus knew she was right, but he could not abandon the colonists. It went against everything he believed in. Maybe we don't have to fight them directly, he said, thinking out loud. You know things about technology that pirates wouldn't expect. Could we use that somehow? Lyra was quiet for a long moment, considering the possibilities. There might be a way, she said finally, but it would be very dangerous. Tell me. I could modify your mining lasers to be much more powerful, Lyra explained, and I know techniques that could make your ship harder to detect and hit. But the real advantage would be my ability to move through space without a ship. What do you mean? It is an ancient dragon ability called void walking, Lyra said. I can teleport short distances through space, appearing directly on enemy ships. I could disable their weapons from the inside while you attack from outside. Marcus was amazed. You can teleport through space? It is difficult and dangerous, Lyra warned. And I have not attempted it for over 160 years. I might not remember how to do it properly. But you're willing to try? Lyra looked at the distress message again. Marcus could see her making the same moral choice he had made when he first found her trapped in crystal. Those people need help, she said simply. We cannot abandon them. Marcus smiled. Then let's go save some colonists. They spent the next day preparing for battle. Lyra guided Marcus through modifications to his mining lasers that doubled their power output. She helped him install new shield generators using parts from her old life support system. She even taught him techniques for flying that would make his ship harder to hit. Remember, Lyra said as they approached the battle zone, pirates are used to fighting merchant ships and poorly armed colonists. They will not expect to face dragon technology. And they definitely won't expect a dragon to appear on their ships, Marcus added. That is our advantage, Lyra agreed. Surprise! Marcus could see the battle ahead of them. 3 pirate ships were attacking the disabled colony vessel. The colonists were fighting back with whatever weapons they had, but they were clearly losing. Are you ready? Marcus asked. Lyra closed her eyes and concentrated. Marcus could feel strange energy building around her as she prepared to use her void-walking ability. I am ready, she said. Let's show these pirates that they picked the wrong fight. Marcus pushed his engines to full power and charged into battle. Behind him, Lyra began to glow with an inner light as she prepared to teleport through space itself. The rescue mission had begun. The battle was chaos. Marcus had never been in a real fight before, and his heart was pounding as he flew his modified mining ship toward the pirate vessels. The 3 enemy ships were much larger than his own, with heavy weapons and thick armor. But Marcus had advantages the pirates did not expect. First target is the ship attacking the colony vessel's engine section, Marcus said into his communication system. Lyra, can you reach it? Yes, came Lyra's reply from the cargo hold. Beginning void walk now. Marcus watched in amazement as Lyra seemed to fade away like smoke. One moment she was there, the next she was gone. It was the strangest thing he had ever seen. Marcus opened fire with his modified mining lasers. The beams were much more powerful than normal mining equipment, and they cut through the pirate ship's armor like it was paper. The pirates were so surprised they forgot to shoot back for several seconds. Meanwhile, Lyra had appeared inside the enemy ship. Marcus could hear the sounds of battle through the communication link she had left open. Metal was being torn apart, and pirates were shouting in panic and fear. Their weapons are offline, Lyra reported. Moving to the next ship. The second pirate vessel opened fire on Marcus, but his ship was much faster and more maneuverable than they expected. Lyra's modifications had improved his engines beyond anything the pirates had seen before. Marcus dodged their shots while returning fire with deadly accuracy. The third pirate ship tried to escape, but Lyra teleported onto it before it could jump to faster-than-light speeds. Within minutes, all 3 enemy vessels were drifting helplessly. In space, their weapons destroyed and their crews surrendering. The colony ship sent a message of thanks that brought tears to Marcus's eyes. 10,000 people were safe, because he and Lyra had chosen to help instead of running away. But their victory came with consequences. Within hours of the battle, ships began arriving from all directions. Human military vessels came to investigate the pirate attack. Dragon scouts appeared to search for signs of their missing clan member. Soon, the area around the colony ship looked like a gathering of enemies preparing for war. Marcus and Lyra found themselves in the middle of a very dangerous situation. Human vessel, this is Captain Williams of the Earth Defense Force, came a message over Marcus's radio. Identify yourself and explain why you are traveling with a dragon. At the same time, a dragon ship sent its own message. Ancient One who was cast out, you will return with us to face judgment for your crimes. Marcus looked at Lyra, who had returned to his ship after disabling the pirate vessels. She seemed calm despite the threat from her own people. What do we do? Marcus asked. We tell the truth, Lyra said simply. Marcus opened communication channels. To both the human and dragon ships, this is Marcus Webb, he said. I am an independent miner, and this is my partner Lyra Stormwind. We rescued the colony ship from pirates. We are not enemies of anyone. Mr. Webb, Captain Williams replied, you are harboring a dragon exile. This could be considered an act of war against the Draconic Confederation. She is not a criminal, Marcus said firmly. She is an engineer who was punished for having new ideas, and she just helped save 10,000 human lives. The dragon ship responded with anger. The human lies. The exile was imprisoned for contaminating our pure heritage. She must return to complete her punishment. Over my dead body, Marcus said without thinking. Both ships went silent. Marcus realized he had just threatened to fight both the human military and dragon forces. It was not a fight he could win. But then something unexpected happened. The colony, ship's captain, a woman named Jennifer Adams, sent her own message. "Captain Williams, I witnessed the battle," she said. "The dragon saved my ship and my people. Whatever crimes she may have committed in the past, she is a hero today." Other voices joined the conversation. Colonists who had been rescued began sending messages of support for Lyra. They described how she had risked her life to save strangers, showing courage and compassion that proved her worth. Even some of the younger dragon scouts spoke up, surprising everyone. Elder Lyra's ideas about cooperation were not wrong, one young dragon said over the communication channel. "This battle proves that dragons and humans can work together effectively." "Her engineering innovations saved lives today," added another young dragon. "Perhaps we should reconsider the old judgments." The standoff continued for hours. Both human and dragon commanders demanded that Marcus hand over Lyra. But the rescued colonists continued to speak in her defense, and more young dragons began questioning their elders' decisions. Finally, Lyra herself requested permission to speak to both fleets. "I was exiled because I believed dragons should work with other species instead of hiding from them," she said over the open communication channel. "Today, that cooperation saved 10,000 lives. I ask you all to consider whether the old ways are truly the best ways." "You contaminated our technology with inferior alien methods," the dragon commander replied. "And yet those contaminated methods just defeated 3 pirate ships and saved a colony vessel," Lyra pointed out. "Results speak louder than tradition. Captain?" Williams was the first to break the silence. "Mr. Webb, the Earth Defense Force does not make war on heroes. You and your partner are free to go." The dragon commander was not so easily convinced. "The exile must return to face judgment." "Then you will have to fight me for her," Marcus said. "And I think these colonists might have something to say about that." As if to prove his point, the colony ship powered up its weapons. It was not much of a threat to military vessels, but the message was clear. 10,000 grateful humans would not let Lyra be taken without a fight. More surprising was what happened next. 3 of the young dragon scouts announced that they would not participate in capturing Lyra. They had been influenced by her progressive ideas and no longer believed in the old ways. Faced with potential rebellion in his own ranks and a diplomatic incident with humanity, the dragon commander made a strategic retreat. "This matter is not finished," he warned before ordering his ships to leave, but Marcus knew it was finished. Lyra had proven her worth through actions, not words. She had shown that cooperation between species was not contamination, but strength. "So what now?" Captain Williams asked. "Now we go to Haven Station," Marcus replied. "We have an engineering business to start." "Good luck to you both," the captain said. "The galaxy needs more people willing to work together." As the human ships departed and the colony vessel continued on its journey, Marcus and Lyra were left alone in space once again. But everything had changed. They were no longer refugees running from their pasts. They were partners with a proven track record and a bright future ahead. "That went better than expected," Lyra said with satisfaction. "You saved those people," Marcus replied. "Everyone saw what you're really capable of." "We saved them," Lyra corrected. "And we proved that humans and dragons can accomplish great things together." Marcus smiled as he set course for Haven Station. They had faced their first real test as partners, and they had passed with flying colors. The galaxy was about to discover what a human engineer and a dragon inventor could accomplish when they worked as a team. 5 years had passed since Marcus and Lyra arrived at Haven Station. What had started as 2 refugees seeking a place to hide had become the most successful engineering partnership in known space. Their company, Webb Stormwind Engineering, occupied an entire section of the massive trading station. Ships from across the galaxy came to them with problems that no one else could solve. Human vessels needed better engines. Dragon ships required more efficient life support systems. Alien traders wanted communication devices that could translate between dozens of languages. Marcus stood in his office, looking out at the main workshop, where dozens of engineers from different species worked together. Humans worked alongside dragons, alien mathematicians collaborated with robotic assistants, and young apprentices learned from masters who had once been enemies. "Hard to believe how much has changed," said a familiar voice behind him. Marcus turned to see Lyra entering the office. She had to duck to fit through the doorway, but Marcus had learned to design all their spaces to accommodate her size. She looked healthy and happy, her blue scales gleaming under the workshop lights. "Remember when you thought no one would want to work with a dragon exile and a failed miner?" Marcus asked with a smile. "I remember someone telling me that results speak louder than tradition," Lyra replied. "You were right." Their success had not come easily. The first year at Haven Station had been difficult. Many potential clients refused to work with a dragon, while others would not trust a human with advanced technology. Marcus and Lyra had survived by taking jobs that no one else wanted, solving problems that seemed impossible. But gradually, word spread about their abilities. When they fixed a communication breakdown between two alien species that had almost led to war, their reputation began to grow. When they designed a new type of medical scanner that could work on any known life form, major corporations started calling. The breakthrough had come when they solved the energy crisis on the mining world of New Terra. The planet's fusion reactors were failing, and millions of people faced freezing to death in the planet's harsh winter. Traditional engineers said the reactors could not be fixed without completely rebuilding them, which would take years. Marcus and Lyra found a different solution. They combined human practical engineering with dragon theoretical science to create a completely new type of reactor design. It was smaller, safer, and more efficient than anything that had existed before. They built and installed 12 new reactors in just 3 months, saving New Terra and earning galactic recognition. "Any word from the Draconic Confederation?" Marcus asked as they reviewed the day's project reports. "Yes, actually," Lyra said, showing him a message pad. "The High Council has officially pardoned me for my past crimes. They have also requested our company to design new ships for their exploration fleet." Marcus whistled in amazement. "They want to hire the engineer they tried to kill?" "Apparently our success has convinced them that cooperation with other species is profitable," Lyra said with amusement. "3 of my former clan members have even applied for jobs here." "Are you going to hire them?" "If they can do the work and follow our principles," Lyra said. "I judge people by their abilities, not their past mistakes." It was an attitude that had made their company unique. Webb Stormwind Engineering employed beings from over 30 different species. They had former pirates working alongside retired military officers, young graduates collaborating with ancient scholars, and outcasts finding new purpose in a place that valued talent over tradition. Marcus walked through the workshop, checking on various projects. In one corner, a team was designing a new type of space station that could expand itself as needed. In another section, engineers were working on medical equipment that could heal injuries by accelerating natural healing processes. "Mr. Webb," called out a young human engineer named David, "the prototype for the Universal Translator is ready for testing." Marcus and Lyra joined the team gathered around a small device that looked like a simple communication badge. It was one of their most ambitious projects, designed to translate between any 2 languages instantly. "Let's try it," Marcus said. David activated the device and spoke in English. "Hello, this is a test of the Universal Translator." The device processed his words and repeated them in perfect dragon language. Then a dragon engineer named Thunderstrike replied in her native tongue, and the device translated her words back. To English. Testing successful, the translated voice said. This device will revolutionize communication across the galaxy. The workshop erupted in cheers. It had taken 2 years to develop the translator, combining human-computer technology with dragon linguistic theory and alien mathematical principles. No single species could have created it alone. Another impossible problem solved, Marcus said with satisfaction. There is no such thing as an impossible problem, Lyra replied. Only problems that require the right combination of knowledge and determination. As the day ended, Marcus and Lyra returned to his office to review their company's growth. They now employed over 200 beings and had contracts with governments, corporations, and research institutions across the galaxy. Their innovations had improved life for billions of people. Do you ever regret leaving your old life? Lyra asked as they watched the sunset through the station's viewports. Marcus thought about his old job mining asteroids alone in empty space. Then he looked at the bustling workshop full of brilliant minds working together to solve the galaxy's greatest challenges. Never, he said honestly. This is so much better than anything I could have imagined. Even though you gave up a safe, predictable career to save a dragon you had never met? Especially because of that, Marcus replied. The best decisions are often the ones that seem crazy at the time. Lyra smiled, showing the pearl-white teeth that had once frightened him. Now he found her expressions as easy to read as any human's. I have been thinking about our next project, she said. What did you have in mind? Education, Lyra replied. We should start a school here on Haven Station. A place where young beings from all species can learn to work together like we do. Marcus's eyes lit up with excitement. That's brilliant. We could teach the next generation that cooperation is stronger than competition. We could call it the Academy of Cooperative Engineering, Lyra suggested. I love it, Marcus said. When do we start? Tomorrow, Lyra replied with determination. The galaxy needs engineers who think beyond the limitations of their own species. Marcus laughed. You know, when I first found you trapped in that crystal prison, I thought I was just saving one life. What do you think now? I think I was helping to save an entire galaxy's future, Marcus said. By proving that different species can work together, we're showing everyone what's possible. Lyra nodded thoughtfully. My clan believed that mixing with other species would weaken us. Instead, it has made us all stronger. That's the human way, Marcus said proudly. We believe that diversity is strength. And that's the dragon way too, Lyra added. Or at least, it should be. As the stars appeared in the darkness outside Haven Station, Marcus and Lyra began planning their new academy. They would teach young beings from across the galaxy that the universe was big enough for everyone to succeed together. Their own story had become legend. The human engineer who risked everything to save a dragon, and the dragon inventor who chose cooperation over isolation. Together they had proven that compassion and ingenuity could overcome any barrier. But their greatest achievement was still ahead of them. The next generation of engineers they would train would spread their philosophy of cooperation across the galaxy, creating a future where no being would ever be imprisoned for having new ideas. Marcus looked at his unlikely partner and friend, remembering the day he had found her dying in a crystal tomb. Neither of them could have imagined then what they would accomplish together. Ready to change the galaxy again? He asked. Lyra's eyes sparkled with the same intelligence and determination that had first impressed him. Always, she replied. Let's build something amazing. And together they began planning their next impossible project, knowing that with cooperation and determination, nothing was truly impossible.